like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad and a soul train frame. We fly that flow. Spread that gap. No time to nap. No time to nap. Hit that roll. Funk and control. Bounce that wall. We fly it all. We fly it all. Funky and free, we fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split, it's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all.
Cretins, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Sorry for the late start. I decided, it'd be fun if I dump my entire giant water bottle all over everything. And so I've got a nice clean surface, but everything is soaking wet, and I'm annoyed. But that's life. Jesus Christ. It is shocking how much water is in this thing. Holy cow, man. Look at this Kayou Mini. Look at it. It's almost done. It needs Betaflight setup. It needs a couple of zip ties. Other than that, it's good to go. It's got a purple ORT on the back there sticking out. I do need something to hold this battery wire down, which I've got. One of the Max Frames M2 files is this itty-bitty little battery strap holder, a little M2 battery strap holder. You just loop it around. Super simple, super clean. So yeah, we're gonna dive into Betaflight and get this all set up. I'll give you guys some tips and tricks, and by the end of the stream, this should be ready to fly. Fly it around tomorrow and report back Monday. What happened to Monday? I just skipped Monday. I've got these beautiful little AMAS motors on here. AMAS, enter the name of these motors now. They're just gorgeous. I don't think they're going to crash all that well, but I'm initially doing a lot of testing with this thing, and so I won't be crashing it, so that'll be good. We'll see how 1303s stack up against 1203s and 1204s. The center of gravity, I was really worried about the center of gravity because we've got this giant camera. This is the Flywoo wide angle camera and this giant chunk of TPU on the front. But the end of the battery bay here is kind of perfect to keep a 2S 450 mAh battery, first of all, from rocketing forward if I nose this thing in, right, and exiting stage forward. But also, it holds the battery out the back like that. And so that ends up having, with a 2S 450, the CG is just ever so slightly rearward. It's not too bad. And I have a feeling that this is not the main battery that I'm going to run. This is a GNB 2S 450 that evens it out even better. And then I've also got these... oh, well, here's a Tattoo 450. I forgot about this. Let's see how the Tattoo 450 is. Oh, yeah, just as good as the GNB. Cool. That's looking good. Yeah, the Tattoo 450 is probably the way to go. But then there's also the Flywoo and the Flywoo 420s, and then the GNB 380s, which are the exact same battery. They weigh exactly the same. The cables are exactly the same. The dimensions are exactly the same. Kind of awkward for this to be a 420 and this to be a 380. Like, which one is it? Is this one a 400 and this one's a 400? Are these both 380s? Are these both 420s? I don't know. But these fit really, really nice in here. But what's funny is the CG with these little smaller batteries, littler batteries, the CG actually shifts a little bit forward towards the nose. And so I like that this keeps the edge of the battery on the deck here, which gets a little bit more of the antenna exposed. But it's not all that often that you're flying. It'll be fine with the 450s. The 2S 450s will be completely fine in the scenario that, like, I'm flying exactly at myself at like a kind of a middle angle. The battery will be between, well, you can see it here. So if you're flying at yourself, so here's the antenna, right? And so this will be clear. If you're flying at yourself really fast, you'll be totally fine. But then as you slow down, flying directly at yourself, probably around here, around a 45-degree angle, flying back towards yourself, we'll see. I might end up putting a longer antenna on here. But these are not necessarily meant to go super far away. But what's cool is that you can go pretty far away with these. ELRS is just magical. And so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. This might end up going to the really long whip antenna that you get with the 04 Lite. I believe, I can just kind of spec it out right now real quick. I believe that this antenna, yeah, so this would stick out the rear a lot more. So this is the active element here. This is the ground plane down here. And so this active element would stick out almost twice as far as the ORT antenna. See that there? So I will more than likely be going to this as an antenna. But we'll see. It's set up with this ORT Micro V. We'll give it a shot. This is not one of mine. This is a 70 millimeter ORT Micro V that I got from, I want to say, Tiny Whoop. And so, yeah, this thing is ready to go. I've printed, Capsy very kindly has printed me out a full set of the 3D prints for this guy in Sunlu Silk Burgundy, which is absolutely gorgeous. But Sunlu TPU is a much higher durometer. It's much stiffer than Sane Smart TPU. Do I have the... I do. So I'm going to put the same amount of force on these to show you. Actually, I have to do it like this. So if I put... That's as hard as I can go on there versus, like, yeah, Sane Smart TPU is much, much softer. And one of the things that we're trying to do right now with all this 2.5-inch testing is figure out how we can get some soft mounting onto these hard mount camera rigs so that we can use gyro flow. The flight footage that you were watching at the beginning of the video was with gyro flow applied, and it wasn't full gyro flow though. It was optical flow within gyro flow, which I've been having much better luck with than using the gyro data. And so I printed a set of this TPU. I printed a set of 3D prints in the SaneSmart TPU, which is much softer. I was just gonna run the camera pod because that's all we really care about. But then I pieced it together, and with the burgundy everywhere, and then this SaneSmart violet, it just looked too awful. So I did another print bed and did the battery loops and the big thick motor protectors. I could reduce the nose heaviness by removing these giant protectors, but for the testing that we're doing, I'm going to leave these on. Oddly enough, the 450 mAh battery balanced out the CG perfectly. So weirdly, I might end up using these arm protectors. There are smaller versions of these arm protectors. Depending on which battery I end up going with, I will do either the large or the small, or I could even do arm protectors in the rear to add some more weight to the back. But yeah, oddly, I'll be using the arm protectors to set the CG of this thing, which is not something I can say that I've ever done before, but is kind of brilliant. I'm kind of looking forward to. That's a funny way to set CG correctly. You'll know if your CG is wrong if when you do a quick throttle stab and throttle chop, you get motion on yaw. When you go full throttle, it cranks all 4 motors up. If it's front heavy, for example, the rear is going to ever so slightly bobble. And so when you go full throttle, the rear is going to accelerate a little bit quicker because it's got less weight on it. And then when you chop the throttle, the front is going to want to keep going because it's heavier. And so when you do a quick throttle chop, you'll get a very noticeable bobble. We're going to go through Betaflight with this today, and we're going to talk about anti-gravity. Andy-gravity. We're going to talk about Andy. And yes, you can turn anti-gravity up to try to take care of that. Anti-gravity was kind of created specifically to fix problems with CG that you can't. Sometimes you just can't fix the CG. And so anti-gravity is there to boost P gain, I think also I gain, on quick throttle movements. And that'll hold this thing in place. But it's always a better bet to basically mechanically get the center of gravity correct so that Betaflight doesn't have to do so much work. And so yeah, we're going to do that with arm protectors, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we're going to put this into Betaflight today. I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks and just how I set up my stuff in Betaflight. I've been using Betaflight for over 10 years. I know what most of the fields mean. I know which fields you should screw around with and which ones you shouldn't. I know which fields actually make a difference and which ones really don't. So we're going to go through all that on this, and it'll be ready to fly tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have some flight footage tomorrow night for you. What's it weigh, you might ask? I don't even know. I literally just got this done. One of the reasons that one of the other reasons the stream was late is that I wanted to get this screwed together so that I could take the actual picture of it. I've ended up with a lot of space above the stack, and so I might actually I might go to longer stack screws and raise the stack up a little bit. The VTX and the AIO are really close together. I think maybe a little bit too close together, so I might space them out by 1 millimeter. The UFL for the ELRS antenna in here is about a millimeter away from a capacitor on the VTX. And so if I slam this thing down flat really hard like this, there's a chance that those two things could contact one another and kablamo. So this is fine to get set up, but I'm not going to go thrashing on this until I handle some stuff. I also need to take the top plate off to get that little battery strap on here. Right now the XT30 is just dangling all over the place. I also have to kind of confirm that the battery wires are going to all reach. Hold on. Let's let's see. So if I have this tied down there, yeah, that's not bad. It's the first time I've powered it up. Yeah, so that's not bad. You have XT30 just kind of hangs off the back like that. Cool. This will work. What does it weigh, you ask? Without propellers, 72.7 grams dry. With the 420 mAh batteries or the 380 mAh batteries, we're at 94 grams, right under 100. That's pretty cool. And then with the Tattoo 450, 98.5. Holy hell. With the GNB 450, these are all 2S batteries, by the way, 98.8. And with the Talon Heli Nation battery that you can't get anymore. Come on, you bastard. Can you? 100.8. Glad we can't get this battery anymore. It's got like giant pieces of shrink wrap here. It's this battery's too heavy. So we are sub 100 grams even with the giant motor protectors on here. The props will bring it to pretty much exactly 100 grams. So that's great. I believe the Kayou Mini was kind of specifically designed to be sub 100 grams, which makes a lot of sense. There are some places around the world that 100 grams is basically 250 grams here in the US, or now kind of 400 grams with a waiver. And so, yeah, this ended up weighing out exactly what it should. Let's compare that, though, to the Bando Turtle. There's going to be a lot of comparisons coming up over the next, well, not many this week, but after 1 week from 1 week from now, I will be working hard in Tulsa at this giant criterium race, 3-day event. And so this week, between now and then, I leave on Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be all Monday and Wednesday's live streams. Well, I guess Monday's live stream is a giveaway live stream, so it'll be about that. But Wednesday's live stream will be about my live broadcast setup, making sure it's all dialed in. This week is all about that. Bando Turtle 2.5. Wow, it's a lot lighter. 65.8 grams. So 65.8 versus 72.7. The main difference is the camera, though. The Bando Turtle has the regular old 04 light camera. The Kayou Mini has the Flywoo. There are 3D print files for both of these for this camera. And so there's a chance that at some point I might swap the cameras from one to the other. But we'll see. We'll see how the testing goes with all this stuff. All of that to say, after Tulsa Tough, and after I recover from Tulsa Tough, which takes a day or two, there will be lots and lots of comparisons between these two things. I am going to try to get this up and running to bring with me, because it's on 04. And so I can feed this into my Goggles 3, Goggles Integra, and send it through the Cosmo streamer to the TV truck. And so for like the earlier events before the pros, as I found out in Anniston, when I brought the 2-inch version of this, it's just too fun to rip this thing around and like everyone. So the pro races, the pro men's and the pro women's races, those are like the main event. Those are the main live stream. before that, there's a full day of races, collegiate level, like over 40, over 50 years of age kind of stuff. And they do kind of live stream that stuff, but there's not like an active announcer really. And it's not the main event. And so we can kind of screw around during that, get dialed in. It gives the truck time to like color balance everybody, and it gives everybody a chance to like stay on comms and figure out everybody's kind of shorthand. And so it's the perfect time to just kind of screw around with these. And so like the there is a live stream going, but it's not the main event live stream. There's also the Jumbotron going. And so they're piping everything we do into the Jumbotron and into this like 8-hour long live stream that not a lot of people watch while they're waiting for the main one. And so yeah, that's when I'll kind of dick around with these. It's really nice to get a feel for the RF too. My favorite thing about flying early is that you do a whole bunch of passes and you can really pay attention to the RSNR and the link quality and the megabits per second that you're getting on your video system. It all does change once the main event starts and like an extra 1,000 people which is an extra 1,000 cell phones show up and are just, wrecking the noise floor. But it gives you a good idea before that. Like if you find a little area that you lose a little bit of signal during testing, you stay completely away from that for the main event, because with the noise floor getting so much nastier, that area is going to be a disaster and or can cause a failsafe or a video loss. And so yeah, having these little guys around is super cool. I'd never had that, right? With like, you couldn't do these with Vistas. You can't build something this small and slick. And so back before I was on the 04 system for live broadcast, it was just all big stuff. And so I was flying the full-size gear all day long. And like the full-size gear, you want to kind of try to keep out flight hours off of so that it's as reliable as possible for the main event. With this stuff, it's so small and so safe and so silly that you can just send it, bro, and fly it a whole bunch while you're getting warmed up. And to be honest, the TV truck absolutely loves it. Like they love taking the shots because they look great from these, and we're just whizzing around the skyline and following the riders and all that jazz. So it's pretty slick. But yeah, lots of comparisons between these two coming. Oh, the other difference between these is motors. This is on 1303s, but they're very, very, very lightweight 1303s. This is on GEP RC 1202.5s. So a little bit of a difference in motors here. Oh, this also has props on it though. Yeah, so the propellers and propeller screws more than offset the difference in motor weight between these two. So yeah, the Kayou Mini is absolutely heavier than the Bando Turtle, but you're still under 100 grams. And so, the extra weight is completely fine. Arguably, on a 2.5-inch propeller, you maybe want that extra weight to be able to push that bigger prop around. I've been most impressed with these 2-inch builds, if I'm completely honest. And so these 2.5s are about having a different prop selection and potentially getting a little bit longer runtime. But in terms of like flight characteristics, especially for freestyle flying, boy oh boy, the 2-inch rigs are awesome, and they're lighter and quieter and like all good things. So yeah, I mean, we are kind of spoiled for choice here, all things considered though. Like, we have so many of these things right now that fly so good. It's really, really cool. What a time to be alive, eh, friends? In the chat, McShakyFPV was first. Eco4458 was next. Hold on. I'm gonna get a battery like actually charging for this thing, rather than just plugging in storage voltage batteries. There we go. You can FPV, FPV Toast, The Bruce, B-Bird, Mike K, Seer FPV, Schnauzer FPV, Eco, Uriel, Mike K again, Arthritic, Dannon, Matthew Wegner, Ryan Sadat, Mike K, The Bruce, Hendrix Freakazoid. I don't know why I keep saying Mike K's name. He just keeps popping up. The YouTube Lias, Metal Dirtskin, License to Drive, Frank Dr. Nicholas, Brandon's Baked Beans, Dannon FPV with a £4.99 super chat. He says, any good AIO alternatives for the Matrix 5-in-1 V2? I think I'm fed up with their very fragile design. The only actually durable AIO, Tiny Whoop AIO, that any of us seem to ever have found is the Happy Model 2G4. You can get it from We Bleed FPV. If you do, I do have an affiliate link over on CiottiFPV.com that you can hit to support me doing all kinds of stuff. Send it, bro. Send it, bro. Yikes. Some of you guys are posting on Discord. Yeah, it doesn't have black box. It's kind of heavy, but it just keeps going and going and going and going. It is such an amazing AIO. It's the AIO that I run on like all of my tiny whoops that I beat on, basically. And it's just, it's wild how good it is. Admittedly, not having black box kind of sucks. I'll be honest. I really, really, really do wish that it had black box, but it's an AIO from like 4 years ago, and so we're lucky that we can even still get it. And if you build a whoop clean with good motors and make sure the motor shafts aren't bent, you don't really need black box. Tiny whoops are fairly easy to tune with good high KV 0702s. You're not really going to need to tune them all that much. Maybe just grab that D-gain slider and turn it up a little bit. Other than that, yeah, you're good to go. So, Happy Model 2G4 is still kind of my go-to. I was really hoping that the Beta FPV Matrix V2 would be as durable. It's definitely way more durable than all of the... It's definitely the second most durable AIO out there. The Newbie Drone Hummingbird AIO, like, it is kind of durable. Like, the Hummingbird race is really durable, but like there's the OSD problems, and like it runs that wacky CAC firmware, and so I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up between that. It's also kind of expensive, I believe. I haven't looked at the price in a while, though. I could be wrong there. But, yeah, I don't know. The Matrix V2, they sent me one or two of those, and they've been totally fine for me. But it's always hard to tell, like, the first run of something versus the continued production run. Also, like, God knows if they cherry pick some really good ones to send out to us reviewers. I don't know. We will never know the answer to that because, yeah, reasons. But I have heard from quite a few folks lately that the Matrix V2 is not holding up all that well, which is a shame, a super shame. The 2G4... while it's expensive, it's super durable, and so it's going to offset that extra cost. You're going to pay extra money for it, but it's going to last 2 or 3 or 4 times as long, and it's not 2 or 3 or 4 times as expensive. So, you know, you get what you pay for with it. Type at CiottiFPV to talk directly to me in the chat. Go over to CiottiFPV.com, click some buttons, support me, and I'll keep doing this, and I'll test more stuff, and I'll save you more money, and I'll tell you more of what flies really good so that you don't have to buy 4 sets of motors and spend weeks soldering them up, flying them, trying to evaluate them. That's what I'm here for. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I'm your guy. Eco says... When would you rather build a 2-inch over building a 2.5-inch? I've been seeing the popularity of 2.5 grow rapidly, and I feel like 2 has fallen behind with favorability. If you want something that has more throw, basically, or is quieter, but yeah, for me, 2 versus 2.5 on these little guys. These are so light that the 2.5-inch props are a little bit big. I would rather have the smaller propellers because basically the props are always spinning, right? And so don't think about propellers. Jesus, I was about to say, do I not have a single build sitting here with props on it? Don't think of the propellers as triangles. Think of them as circles. Because as soon as you arm the quad, the props start spinning and they don't stop spinning. And so you've got 4 plastic circles on the corner of this thing, and then the central canopy, right? And so when you're flying, everything's a parachute. And so you're flying through the air and you're using thrust, but then you flip upside down because you want to like throw it up over a tree. You flip upside down, you go 0 throttle. If you've got giant propellers, you've got a giant parachute. And so you're going to go full throttle, you're going to chop the throttle, you're going to flip it over, and it's just going to hit a brick wall because it's a big parachute. It's going to slow down, it's not going to make it over the tree. As you go down in prop size, the parachute gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So you can actually have the momentum and the aerodynamics to sail over that tree. When I always say that I prefer 2-inch at this sub 100 gram weight, this is mainly why. I prefer the flight characteristics, and this is also what I mean when I say flight characteristics, of 2-inch at this sub 100 gram weight to 2.5. 2.5 has different propeller selections and more power because bigger props make more power, and more runtime because bigger props are more efficient. And runtime and just all-out power are 2 things that a lot of people place a very high importance on. I don't understand why, because our batteries are super cheap. They're really easy to change out. And the more power, the less throttle resolution. So the more power, the more difficult it is to fly like close to stuff and to fly like really accurately, basically. So, yeah, I don't think that such a big importance should be placed on runtime specifically, but also just raw thrust to weight ratio. But that's just me. I've been doing this for a long time, and I approach it a little bit differently than some folks. And you know, it's all good. To each their own. If just hammering the throttle and having a quad hurtle into the clouds is the most fun thing in the world for you, do it. I got over that years ago though, and now the most fun thing in the world is staying like really close to stuff to make like really cool, compelling flight footage for people to watch and enjoy. Speaking of patrons who donate as little as $3 a month, anywhere from $3 a month up to the sky's the limit, got early access to the Portlandia freestyle 2-inch edit. It's got 2-inch Tiny Whoop in it, 2-inch Turtle V7 with it's all 04 Lite. If you want to see what 04 Lite can do on 2 really dialed in rigs, one open prop and one plastic whoop, it shows it. It's pretty cool. I was up most of the I don't typically enjoy editing. I've been editing videos for the last like over 20 years, and I'm not even kidding. And so if I'm in the mood to edit, I just have to sit here and I just have to go until I collapse. And so, yeah, last night I was up most of the night just ripping through this edit because I was weirdly in the mood. It's not a finished edit. It's just a rough cut that's up there. It's over on the patron hangout in Discord. You guys can check it out. Probably tomorrow, maybe tonight, I'll throw an actual Patreon post up on patreon.com/CiottiFPV for those of you that don't do Discord stuff. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's the combination of like 3 batteries. It'll get cut down. There's going to be like one main Portland edit that gets made with a mix of like the ocean flying, the city flying, which is what this Portlandia edit is, and the woods flying. But right now, what basically what I try to do to give some fun extra content for patrons, to try to earn that $3 a month or more, is the first step for me in the editing process is to just watch all of the flight footage and cut out all of the trash. And when I'm cutting out all of that trash, I have a whole bunch of chunks of like good footage, but I have too much. Sometimes, though, I can just drop that into a timeline, quickly find a song that matches sort of the vibe of the flying, and do like a quick sort of freestyle edit, like a full-length rough cut. And so I've done 2 of those now for Portland. The Haystack Rock flight, and now this flight in downtown Portland, flying around their very well-known statue that they named an entire show around, Portlandia. And it's really cool. The visuals of like flying a tiny whoop around a massive, epic fucking statue. It's a big dude with a trident. It's just wild. It's such a perfect example of like what we can do with FPV that you can't do with anything else, right? Like this statue is 100 feet up, and the statue is probably 50 feet tall. And so you can't just get a guy up there with a gimbal, right? Like you can't get cameras up there. And so like we're not used to seeing really cool footage like a couple feet away from big statues like that. And so when you see it, you're like, ooh, it has like real impact. It's very, very cool. I'm super happy with it. And so, yeah, I've got a couple of these rough cuts. When you join the Patreon, you get access to this YouTube playlist called Patreon Only, with over 100 rough cuts, Patreon only live streams, sim racing content, lots of fun stuff in there. And so this is in that, both of the Portland rough cuts are in that playlist. So all of you patrons have access to that. When you join Patreon, it sends you an email with a link to that and a thank you and all that jazz. So yeah, there you go. Mike K says, okay, guys, I fixed my first quad. I fixed my first quad today. My solder job doesn't look like Helen Keller did it. I'm so happy. Nice, dude. Ryan Sadat says, do you have an air compressor? I do not. Might be worth blowing all electronics off real quick. Why is that? Blowing electronics off. What were we talking about that spawned that? Why do I need to... Oh, is that in response to me dumping an entire giant water bottle all over? That's what I did in like the 15 or so minutes that... The 15 or so minutes late that the live stream was drying everything off. And I have some stuff over there in front of the fan, but yeah. Matt Erickson says, I discovered that cloth wiring harness tape for holding wires to the arms may or may not be better than zip ties, but at least it looks better, LOL. Yeah, it does. Cap C sent me this stuff, which is, I believe, what Metal Dirt Skin is talking about. This is really cool. It's cloth, but it shrinks when you hit it with a lighter. And so... you can use this on the arms to hold the wires down, and it looks beautiful. The problem is that only works. I mean, it's it works with direct soldered motors, but boy, is it a pain in the balls, right? Like, you kind of have to have plug-based motors to use this stuff. Because otherwise, you have to cut this off every single time you want to get to this here. Which I guess doesn't matter. I guess it's not that bad, because, like, at that point, the only reason you would need to get to this is if you're desoldering the motor anyway. And so, yeah, I guess that's kind of fine. But when I have direct soldered motors, I will always opt for just electrical tape, just like a wrap of electrical tape that I can then peel off if I need to, get access to it, and then wrap it back around. But if you've got a build with carbon fiber arms on motor plugs, this stuff is really cool, because with the motor plugs you can just slide the motor plug under this. I think the other thing that's annoying about using this with direct soldered motors is that you have to run this over the motor wires, and then you have to solder it with this, like, still on there, and that's kind of annoying. I want to be able to, like, work with the motor wires that are here when I'm soldering them, to get it as clean as possible, right? And so it just makes the build process a little more difficult. But you're right, boy, does it look good when you use that stuff. YouTubelia says, did you see Rimsler's video on the P1 version of the Air 65? Very briefly. I think he was just at the expo pointing a camera at it. So I think his video was basically like, look, this thing exists. We've been talking about that for the last, like, week or so. The fact that it's staggering, that it's looking like they're going to be able to put the Artisan setup into an all-in-one, along with a flight controller, an ESC, and ELRS. I don't know how they're going to do that, but wild stuff. Ryan Sedot says, Metal Dirt's in CiottiFPV. I've been also liking acetate tape a lot. Doesn't string up over time as much as the cloth tape. I don't think I've ever tried acetate tape. That's interesting. Yuke says, watched the 3-year-old Babito live stream last night. I cannot believe you flew that inside. That thing sucks. You think it would be possible to build a 2S version? Totally. Yeah. The Babito used, was that 1.6 inch propellers? I think that was 1.6 inch props. Boy, I hope I don't have a fucking allergy attack again. It's starting to feel like it. I gotta go teach people how to fucking dance after this. Let me go take... Somebody type into the chat what size... Whatever. The Babito, I think, is 1.6 inch. You could do a 2S version of that, but don't. Just go up to 2 inch. Do a 2-inch build. Do, like, one of this style builds. It makes so much more sense. Yuke says, I printed an airless tennis ball with that Sunlu TPU. Came out pretty good. That's pretty slick. Alan FPV with a 5-pound super chat says, DJIO for fun. Looking forward to the new build flight. Thank you, dude. I really do I have to go get on some allergy meds. Hold on. All right, here's another one of the Portland flights. I'll be right back. This is, again, optical flow stabilized. No gyro data being used, which is why it actually looks good and doesn't jitter all over the place. Be right back. Hold on. Ooh, Jesus. Okay. I'm on allergy meds now. I shaved my mustache down a little bit too, just because I'm just so tired of this, man. I'm so fucking tired of this. Wait, no, that's not the right button. Mike K says, do you have GNB Red 2S 550 you can test on the Kayou Mini? I do not. 550 is going to be too much, though. 550 2S is not really going to be necessary on something like this. 450 or 420 or 380 is going to be plenty. A 550 is going to hang so far off this back plate that it's going to put that CG to the rear, and it's also going to obstruct this antenna, and it's not necessarily. If you wanted to do that big of a battery, you would go with the Bando Turtle, which has the top plate freed up. The front of the top plate here, you could run the battery all the way out to this point. The Kayou Mini in this configuration with this giant camera, it's just not going to work for a battery that big. Maybe on a smaller, probably on a smaller camera, the front TPU camera mount would be out of the way, and you could run a slightly longer battery. But yeah, this setup ain't gonna work for that. By the way, speaking of, in doing a lot of this work and testing lately, I've thought a couple times that it would be really nice to have one of these frames with removable arms. And so every once in a while, the couple times I've thought like, well, shit, that could be a fun project to do. Why don't I make a frame with that? I'll show you why. This is why I'm not going to do that. Because this style of frame is an absolute nightmare. And this is the nightmare right here. There are 78 3D print files for this Kayou Mini 2.5-inch frame. 7 different mounts for the DJI 04 with Flywoo ND. 7 mounts for the regular 04. Just 1 for the Caddx Ant mod. 5 for the Runcam Nano 4. 4 for the Nano 3. You have this design with the camera encased in TPU. What a disaster. You have to design every different up tilt. Obviously not every, but like you probably want to do at least 10, 20, and 30. A lot of these folks do 5, 15, 25, 35, whatever. But like, you know what I mean? Like, what a goddamn nightmare. Runcam Nano 4, Nano 3, Caddx Ant, HD0 Lux, HD0 Eco, Nano Lite, Nano V2, Nano V3, Walksnail Avatar, Mini 1S Lite, regular Mini 1, like, oh my god. And you can't just like, oh, I'm just doing an 04 light mount and that's it. No. Because people are going to buy it and be like, dude, I need a CO3 mount. Okay, I need a HD0 mount. You know what I mean? Like, this is a silly thing. So yeah, not happening. I will use, as with most things for me, I will use the products that exist. Look at this though. Look how cool this is, man. Kayou Frames has flight files for this excellent little case that you put a couple little magnets in. Looks like you might put a little stick through the back of it there. Hinge for the hinge, yeah. Hinge and magnets. What are they talking about for the hinge? Oh my god, they're using filament for the hinge. 1.75 millimeter standard filament for the hinge. That is too cool. You just run the I love that. Huh. Use CA for the magnets. That's really nice. There's a lot of stuff out there for the Kayou Mini. I did not know there was such a scene around around that build, around this frame, I should say. Mike K also says, or any of the yellow 530 mAh 2S GNBs. Yeah, no, the biggest. Well, I mean, I do have a 2S 850, but I'll never use that. I think Newbie Drone sent that to me with the Acrobrat with the 2S Acrobrat. No, with the 2S with their 2S bind and fly. Dan NFPV with a 499. Oh, we talked about that one. Uriel says, good content checklist before leave. I always bring too much, but missing one. Oh, man, I was so excited to go chase the RC drift cars yesterday. I had all my shit packed. I was all ready to go. And then my stomach just completely exploded. And I spent like 3 hours on the toilet instead of having fun. So, yeah, that sucked. Gaber says, which 3D printer do you have? I won a Bamboo Labs A1 Mini at Rampage 2 years ago for the micro freestyle contest, and I've been I set it up. It took me almost a year to get it set up, but yeah, it's been set up now for almost a year. I almost know what I'm doing with it. Uke flew a Baby Turtle 1S yesterday on 1.8-inch props. He's waiting for 2-inch propellers, but man, I love it. It's my first open prop quad. That might have something, so that might have something to do with it. Yeah, it's very fun. They're very fun to fly out in front of the house. Arguably perfect. Dannon says, I keep having issues with losing the video / rainbow glitch screen or either RX loss. 2G4, it's basically not available in the UK, so maybe I'll get it from the US. Yeah, unfortunately, the 2G4 is hard to find. If you're in the UK, though, I think you can probably get it from, like, AliExpress. And I've heard that they ship to the UK. So maybe try that. License to Drive says, those 2S batteries, which are the same size but different capacities, have you tried a discharge test on them to see what they really are? I haven't, but I've flown them a bunch, and they give me the exact same runtime, which is kind of the same thing. Perk tagged me but said CiottiFPV, but I just happened to see it, which is awesome. Peter Shreveport released a video where he increases the flight time of an Air 75 with wings. Looked interesting. I wonder if we'll see it in future quads. Skip to 6 minutes for the demo. Wings? Air 75 with wings? I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I'm assuming... Oh. What in the world?
In this video, we're testing
hold on. You're just
3
gonna have to
weird
look
drone
at my
experiments.
reaction, because otherwise I'm gonna get copyright ding-donged. I gotta mute it as well. So he's got... I can just kind of bounce back and forth. He's got a little whoop. A little dog running. Look at that. What on earth? Interesting. I wouldn't think that we'll ever see that, because that wing is just going to break. But that's wild. Okay, that's too cute. His dog is just terrific. Huh. If it works, it works. 6 minutes and 11 seconds. I'll be damned. Here comes a link in chat. Go 6 minutes in. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Huh. So the wings are set up to rotate. So as the quad changes angle, the wing is kind of always hanging out here when it's moving forward, and so the wing is just generating lift. Here, this little clip shows it perfectly. Ready? See how the wing rotates? That's pretty cool. I'll be damned. Hey, Ryan. Brian says, I got my parallel board from the giveaway yesterday. Thanks, man. It also came with a small single strand of your luscious locks. Nice. Licenses Drive says, it's great seeing more and more FPV footage in TV shows, etc., but I don't think directors have fully grasped what FPV is capable of and how to use it. What do you think? They're getting a lot better. It's not just directors, it's everybody in the whole chain, right? Like, script writers need to understand what it can do. Directors, for sure, need to know. Directors of photography need to know, and editors need to better understand how to incorporate it. And there needs to be more of a conversation between those people. Like, the editors need to feedback more to the rest of that loop, to say, like, hey, the FPV shot that you gave me on this is totally worthless. I can't work this in with anything else. Or have the FPV pilot rotate both to the right and to the left next time, so that if I'm doing a cut in this direction, I'm good. If I'm doing a cut in this other direction, I'm good, right? And so, yeah, but it's still early days, normal filmography has been around for, 100 years probably? Maybe not quite 100 years, but an awful long time. FPV has not. FPV has been in the cinematic world for, like, at best 5 years. So it's still early days. Dannon says, any opinions on Goku F405 HD 1S 12 amp AIO? Just bought this one to build 04 light cruiser on an Air 75 frame. I mean, if you already bought it, don't ask me to say something bad about it. But Flywoo's been making great stuff. And so it should be really good. Metadertson says, Babito used 35mm props. It was kind of like a knockoff of the 40mm Odonata. Well, yeah, if it's not even on a 1.6-inch prop, then definitely don't build it. But 2S would help it. The Babito is open prop, no guards, so it's kind of silly to fly it inside. Reckless, stupid to fly it inside. So now it's an outside quad, and being on 1S is not the move for outside. So it would make sense to put that onto 2S, but, like, you're going to run into issues. Those little propellers are going to, like, you're going to be making so much thrust that those little propellers want to just, like, rip off, and, like, it just kind of doesn't make sense. It's too small. If you're going to fly something outside, it should be bigger than that. And so, like, if you want something that's really accurate outside, it should be a tiny whoop with guards to slow it down and keep it really accurate. If you want something to go fast and slide around, it should be like 2 or 2.5 inch. It doesn't make any sense to do it in that smaller size. It's a perfect example of, oh my God, look, oh my God, look, this is the greatest thing ever. Everybody buy it. And then it just sits on the shelf because it doesn't do anything well. It's too small of a propeller for something that's going to be flown outside. It makes no sense to fly something on that small of a propeller outside. It's in this weird middle ground that doesn't really make much sense. Jimmy Bobby says, is the video footage slowed down? I did play something at 50% speed. Where is it? What did I play for you guys? This stabilized? Hold on, let me see. This was not it. I forget what flight footage I played, but some of this flight footage kind of looks slowed down because I'm flying a 2-inch rig in a big ass city. But if it was this flight file, it was not slowed down. But I did put another flight file. I think at the beginning of the live stream, maybe I put a flight file that was slowed down 50% because I didn't want it to go. The intro song is long enough that it'll play multiple files. Brains by Bean says, if you want to design a frame and not design prints, just make your frame design work with the mounts from existing design. Jesus, that is true. That is so true. Smile. I can't figure out the end of that, but I'm just going to call you Smile, says, I'm going to build one of these bad boys. What parts do you recommend? And 2-inch or 2.5-inch? There is a live stream from, what's today, Sunday? Friday and Wednesday, where we dive into the build. I don't really have any recommendations, though, because I haven't started the testing yet. There are only like 3 AIOs that exist, so close your eyes and point, because nobody has tested all of them to figure out which one is better than the other. So yeah, whichever of the 2S HD AIOs that you can actually find in stock is the best AIO. Motors, I have no idea. You're going to want at least 1203, maybe 1204, maybe 1303. KV, you're going to want to be between 8 and 11. 8 and 11,000. Please no. Please don't fuck another live stream for me. Allergies. Oh God, I hate being in the body that I'm stuck in. Oh, God damn it. All right, well, let's see how much of a shit show this turns into. And then propellers, I've done a couple live streams with 2.5-inch propeller testing. There aren't any like one-size-fits-all answers to that question. There's a specific propeller for each specific pilot. And so I can't just say, like, get this set up. I know a lot of people do that. I know there's a lot of people on Facebook groups and Reddit, and even here on YouTube that say, my setup is the best. You should get all these exact parts. Here's my affiliate links for them. 99% of those people have not tested anything. And their best part setup is the first set of parts that they put on it that didn't catch on fire. And so, yeah. It's pretty worthless advice. You won't find many folks that have actually... Nope. Yep, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. Hang on. This is gonna suck. But, so those of you wearing headphones, I'm so sorry. There's gonna be background noise. I brought the giant air filter from upstairs from our living room down here to try to get this under control. And so it is on not full power right now, but almost full power. To try to prevent the inevitable. But yeah, this ain't gonna go well. Oh my God. So yeah, there you go. Smile. Sorry, there's not just like a perfect setup. But anybody that tells you that there is either doesn't know what they're talking about, or they don't care about helping you find your perfect setup. I do one-on-one sessions through a website called Fiverr, or you can just message me. All my contact info is on CiottiFPV.com. I do this thing called build planning. A 30-minute or 60-minute build planning session involves me asking you between 20 and 30 questions to figure out where you fly, how long you've been flying, how often you fly, what you do with your flight footage, how often you crash, how hard you crash, what you crash into. All of these things that I need to know to suggest to you an actual setup that's going to be the best for you. That is the only way of doing it. Every single one of us is a completely different human being, and thus a completely different pilot, right? And so we all have wildly different needs and wants and desires, and the only reason to do a custom build is to maximize that, right? Like, there's all these bind and flies out there that are unbelievably cheaper than doing custom builds. And so if you don't care about that, if you don't care about your build being perfect for you, and if you're not willing to spend the time on making it perfect for you, then just buy one of the bind and flies, right? The bind and fly is a close your eyes and point approach to the right motors, the right frame, the right AIO, the right everything, right? And so, yeah, if you want something that flies better than a bind and fly because you're going to design it to be perfect for your needs and wants and all that jazz, that's the reason to custom build. But most people have not been doing this for over 10 years, full-time for almost 5 years. And so most people don't know that. They don't know the exact right motor size. They don't know the exact right propeller, the exact right this and that and the other. And so, yeah, but there are a couple of us out here that do. And so, yeah, that's kind of the deal. When you build, when you find a YouTube video of somebody flying one of these things around, and then you just copy their build, you've potentially got a build that person likes a lot. And so if you're the exact same pilot as them, you'll love it as well, but you're probably not. And so, like, if you're going to do that, make sure that you find someone who is exactly at your level of flying skills, who flies very similar locations to you, who crashes a similar number of times as you, who crashes into the same sort of... You see what I'm getting at here? But then you also have to try to figure out if that person has actually tested anything, right? Have they tried 5 different sets of motors, 10 different sets of props, 3 different ways of orienting the boards, stuff like that. Not many, and you're not going to really find that all that often. But you found it here, so stick around. Yuke says, you see GameHat has a few bind and fly 04 2S Bando Turtles, pretty damn cool. Yeah, he asked me a while ago about what sort of parts I've been leaning towards, and we had a nice conversation. He said he was going to start doing it. I didn't realize that he'd started already. That's great. Striker says, gone down this rabbit hole of Fractal 75 1S super low drag setup to try and find something that I enjoy indoor flying and outdoor. It flies great for both, but the sag. Yeah, the Fractal stuff is really tough. It doesn't really do anything better than a plastic frame Tiny Whoop. We have this weird... Human beings have this weird thing where, like... And here in hamburger hot dog land, we are the shining example of what happens when people stop actually learning things and stop actually getting more intelligent and just base everything on what feels like it's right, what they think should be right, and so, we're a country filled with just dumb fucking numpties who don't bother to actually research anything or understand the scientific method or gain any actual knowledge and just say, well, it feels like this should fly good, so it definitely gonna fly good because it feels like it should, and I am the fucking main character of this story, and so if it feels good, I'm gonna do it because I'm the center of the universe and Donald Trump is my best friend. He's gonna make everything better. Oh wait, he doesn't give a fuck about me? That's okay. I'm so ingrained and I don't want to feel like an asshole that voted for a lunatic Nazi. I'm just gonna double down and go for it. Woo! I'm gonna fuck up the whole world because I can't admit that I was wrong and evil and awful and fuck. Sorry, dude. My allergies make me very upset. I'm gonna blame this on my allergies. That's perfect. Ooh. So yeah, the fractal frames feel like they gonna be good because they're carbon fiber, and on our bigger shit we fly carbon fiber, so carbon fiber must be better. But it's not. You know, you've got a carbon fiber frame and then you've got the plastic ducts on top of that. So you have all of the aerodynamic drag of the plastic ducts, and then you have more aerodynamic drag from the carbon fiber frame. And so you end up with something that has less power, less efficiency. And here's the kicker is that you're like, well, it should be more durable because it's carbon fiber, and carbon fiber is obviously more durable than plastic, and so it'll definitely be more durable. But it's weird, I keep breaking motors. Motor shafts are bending constantly. It's so weird. Just every fucking 3 crashes, motor shafts are all bent up and my props are wobbling like a bitch. I don't understand why. It's because you've mounted motors that have really fragile motor shafts to a rigid carbon fiber frame. And so when you crash, instead of the plastic bending and absorbing some of the crash from the energy, the motor shafts have to eat all of that energy, and the motor shafts just bend constantly. So yeah, less power, less efficiency, less durability. The camera mount is pretty brutal. So yeah, Tiny Whoops. Look, if we could get injection molded plastic frames even bigger, like 2-inch, 2.5-inch, well, we can't get 2-inch, but like 2.5-inch, 3-inch, that were designed in a way that I think that there could be plastic frame design that even on the bigger rigs performs just as good, if not better, than carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is carbon fiber. Anybody that's into cars will get that joke. Carbon fiber is an incredible material, but it has limitations, mainly like the way that you lay it up and its unwillingness to be sort of 3-dimensional and do, like, you can make carbon fiber kind of do one of these, but to make it go like this and shit, it's a lot more difficult, and it becomes really expensive to lay it up in like a 3-dimensional shape. And so, yeah, we need to take advantage of the fact that we can get plastic molded 3-dimensional frames for Tiny Whoops. And whenever you can run a plastic frame, you kind of should, because they perform incredibly well. So, yeah, there you go. Jesus. Striker also says, I finally have it to a point where it's durable. I enjoy the flight feel indoor and outdoor, but outdoor I'm sagging to 2.6 volts on punch out. It's bad. Throw those batteries away. They are destroyed now. Midwest Ripper says, at allergies. I like that. Allergies is in the chat. Uriel says, sometimes I have flowering hazards that give me the allergies. Lastly, I hose such plants down. I love it. Jimmy Bobby says, I can't hear it. I think that might have been when I was playing flight footage. There was nothing to hear. DJI doesn't record audio. It's maddening. Uriel says, you know, it's worth gold. Use it better. Uriel says, that movie comedy with the smart president is great. This too. Indeed. Dan and FPV with a 99 pence super chat. Thank you, dude. Okay. I've done a solid rant. Let's do the thing that I said we were going to do in the title of the live stream. This is on, at the moment, the GEP RC... No, I'm sorry. It's on the JHE MCU G474 ELRS 1 to 2S 12 amp AIO. I have no experience with this AIO, and so we're doing it live. We're gonna do it live. Here we go. Plugging in for the first time. Let's see what version of Betaflight it's on. I'm gonna guess it's on 4.5. Let's see. Connect. 4.5.2. Very cool. All right, so no reason to update it. That's great. Let's get this flat on the desk, and we're going to accelerate the calibrometer. Still need to make that t-shirt. All right, accelerometer is calibrated. In the setup tab, so I run Betaflight and most software top to bottom. A lot of times software designers will set shit like this right here up in a way that it makes sense to run it top to bottom. Photoshop, Premiere, for example, a lot of times you go top to bottom, and that's a really good workflow. And so when you first connect to Betaflight, it automatically goes to the setup tab. That's a great opportunity to look at this model, put it flat on your desk, and look here and make sure that the calibrometer is accelerated. So that's what we do here. The other thing we do real quick here is we take the quad and we go nose down, nose up, left, right, yaw left, yaw right, and we make sure that this picture matches what we're doing in the real world. In our case, we do. Done. Setup tab, good to go. Ports tab. This AIO is this is an HD AIO, so I'm assuming they don't have MSP clicked off. Usually they'll have the MSP checked off, and maybe even the OSD set up for the plug. This is an AIO that has a plug for the HD system. But in this case, we don't have that. In theory, UART3, which has serial RX turned on, in theory, this is where ELRS is. So either UART1, 2, or 4, I suspect, is going to be where we need to put the HD OSD and tick the MSP box. But let's look it up. HD LRC G474 ELRS 1 to 2S AIO. And so if you just search for it and then you go to it either on HGLRC's website or like GetFPV or something like that, usually that's not the one. That's the 10 amp. We want 12 amp. 12A. Okay. That's an ELRS receiver. Spectre 10 amp. That's not the one. Nope, that's not the one. What the hell? Here it is. This is just on eBay though. Maybe they'll have the pin out here. Okay, or maybe eBay won't work. That's pretty cool. Why am I having such a hard time finding this AIO? 8 megabyte. Every once in a while, Amazon will have the right picture. In this case, they do not. What we're looking for is a picture that tells us what UART the plug header is on. Let's try this. Let's go to Google Images here. I'm going to correctly spell AIO, and then I'm going to put the word wiring in. And this is what we want. JHE MCU G474 12 amp. This is the one. Cool. And so, hey, this is what we're looking for. Is one of these images that has the pads all called out for us. Sometimes they will call out what the plug header is. In this case, they do not, which is maddening. Okay. Maybe this image has what we need. Yeah, there it is. This is what we're looking for right here. Cool. So it's 2. It's TX and RX 2 right here. And so, and they even show us right here, when use S-Bus receiver, turn on UART1 as serial RX. That's not us. I thought that would tell us what we needed, but it does not. But yeah, all we need to know is that this is UART2. So now we can come back in here to Betaflight, and on UART2, we're going to turn on configuration/MSP, and then we're going to come all the way over to the right here, and we're going to do VTX MSP plus DisplayPort. This over here on the right is what's going to turn on our digital OSD. This configuration MSP switch tells it that on UART2 you've got a you've got your VTX. You're going to communicate through the MSP, and that's going to open up that RX and TX communication. And so now we save and reboot, and that's it. With an AIO, we don't have an external receiver. The receiver is built in. That was that on UART3, I believe it was, and we're golden. Whenever you save and reboot, it's going to kick you back out here, reconnect, and to be honest, come back to where you were and just make sure what you just did is still there. Cool. Setup tab done. Ports tab done. Configuration tab. You're going to come in here to craft name and just put something that makes sense. PID loop frequency is at 4K. That's what we want. This is a smaller rig with not like an H7 powerhouse processor on it. And so 4K PID loop with DShot 300 is what we're going to run here. Arming, maximum arming angle. 180 turns this off, so you can arm it in any orientation. If for some reason you only want to arm it when it's flat for like a super safe kind of setup, you can change this maximum arming angle to maybe like 20 degrees. And then it will only arm if it's completely flat or up to 20 degrees off. What's annoying about that is like if you disarm in midair and it's not completely flat, you won't be able to rearm. If you get it stuck in a tree and it's hanging sideways, you won't be able to arm it. So typically you're going to set this maximum arming angle to 180, which just turns it off and you can arm it whenever you want. Permanently enable air mode, not a terrible idea. I might switch this over to I'm going to put it on air mode on a switch. OSD is turned on, that's great. LED strip is turned on, doesn't really matter. We're not going to run addressable LEDs, so I might as well turn that off. DShot beacon configuration. This is your ESC beeper. Turn this on unless you have an external beeper. And then everything else in here is good to go. Save and reboot. Reconnect. Go back into configuration. Check that everything you just did is still good to go. And we're all set. Power and battery. Capacity. The capacity of the battery that you put in here controls when the MAH field in the OSD starts flashing. And so I'm typically going to run a 450 MAH battery in here, so I'm going to type that in, 450. I am probably going to run high volt batteries on this. And so your maximum cell voltage is really important. The normal maximum cell voltage is set to 4.3. So if you put a high volt battery on here that's at 4.35 volts, it's going to think it's a 2S because you've told it that the maximum cell voltage is only 4.3. So take this and, in my opinion, move it up to 4.5 because even at 4.4, if you have a battery that's overcharged a little bit, it might still think it's 2S and it's just annoying as hell. So maximum cell voltage 4.5. Minimum cell voltage of 3.3, that's when it gives you the land now warning. Warning cell voltage of 3.5, that's what gives you the warning. The voltage meter and the amperage meter are hopefully set correctly. They are not always set correctly, but we won't know it until we actually fly it, and so we'll just leave them alone for right now. Failsafe. On a tiny little super safe rig like this, you can get a little bit more aggressive with this right here. Period of time in stage 1 failsafe after signal loss. What this is that when the ELRS loses connection, this is the amount of time that it's going to hold the last signal that it got. So you're about to fly behind a building, you've got the stick centered up, you've got a nice flight path perfectly lined up for yourself, you fly behind the building, ELRS drops out, it's going to keep doing what it was doing for this amount of time. If this amount of time goes by and it hasn't received a new signal from your transmitter, it's then going to go into the failsafe, which is either going to be drop, hopefully that's the safest, or this sketchy-ass landing, or if you have GPS, you can then have it go into GPS rescue. Most stuff is just going to drop, though. And so with something tiny and safe like this, you can move this up to something like 3 seconds, and you don't really have, like, God forbid it, like, hits something in that time, it's only going to sit there in the last state, which is not going to be full throttle, right? It's going to be cruising throttle, so like 30% throttle. If it hits something, it's going to sit there for the remainder of that 3 seconds at whatever, 30% throttle. Maybe it's going to do some damage, maybe not. In theory, anytime that you're about to fail safe, you should understand this, and you should have a nice clean flight path sort of planned out for yourself. Yes, it is a little sketchy to increase this. 1.5 is a really nice number to have this set at. It's very safe. Increasing this number can cause issues, so do it at your own risk. I only ever increase this on builds that are itty-bitty and can't really actually hurt someone. Brandon Zwapien says, if you want to extend the delay for stage 2 failsafe, then don't forget to set the throttle channel to hold in stage 1. By default, auto on throttle is throttle position at 1,000. No way. No shit, I did not realize that. So the throttle, I thought the throttle was set to hold the last. Dude, good call. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, we want the throttle set to hold. Because, yeah, auto means that it's going to center. And that is not necessarily what you want. For the throttle. For the roll, pitch, and yaw, that's kind of fine, because when it's in failsafe, it's going to just kind of go forward. It's going to go wherever it went. The sketchy bit is if you have, like if you're pitched back really hard when it goes into failsafe, it's going to keep pitching back. With it on auto, it's going to basically center the sticks for you. Jesus, I did not realize that. Good call, dude. My god. I guess the only problem with setting the throttle to hold is that if it, and yes, 1,000 is idle, Metal Dirtskin, so it's gonna start to drop at idle. If you're at full throttle when it goes into failsafe, it's gonna hold full throttle. You should never be full throttle in an area that has like any kind of sketchy shit going on, right? But you decide that. You decide if you want it to be on auto, where it's going to go to idle and just run the PID loop, basically. Yeah, it just runs the PID loop at idle, or if you want it to hold the last. I will say this. Having it set to auto, you will notice a failsafe because it'll drop the throttle. You're never going to failsafe when you're at 0 throttle. Not never, but very rarely. And so if you set this throttle to hold and you're tracing a perfectly straight line, you might not notice that it goes into failsafe. It is going to flash it up in the warnings on the OSD. It is going to say failsafe. But yeah, just keep that in mind. I cannot believe that I didn't realize that. Brandon, thank you so much for calling that out. Jesus. Save and reboot. Connect. And double check it. Throttle hold. Good to go. 3 seconds. Good to go. Presets. I always search for clean. And then I run 4.5 filter settings for clean build, not very clean build, with RPM filtering. I always run RPM filtering. If you're not going to run RPM filtering, you would use this one. This filter setup right here is from Betaflight. The author is Betaflight. This is an official filter setup that is aggressive, but not too aggressive. This is a beautiful starting point. Rosser, and there's Rosser filter presets, there's Karate presets, there's UAV Tech presets. In my opinion, those are all too aggressive. This is a perfect starting point. It's more aggressive than standard, but it's not too aggressive. And then you can work this to be more aggressive. Or you can leave it the hell alone, because this will work really well by itself. You click it, and then you click pick, and that is good to go. While you're at it, type in whatever your ELRS refresh rate is. For me, it's 250, and so now I'm going to do this Express LRS 250 Hertz option. I'm going to drop this down, and this fine tuning, this dials in how much stick smoothing gets added in. If you want tons of stick smoothing, you're going to do ultra cinematic or cinematic. If you want little to no stick smoothing, you're going to do racing or freestyle. I love being right in between. HD freestyle, it's a little bit of stick smoothing, but not a ton to where it introduces a lot of latency. So HD freestyle is my preferred one. And now we're going to click pick, and then we're going to click save and reboot. That dumps a bunch of shit into the CLI and then kicks us back out. There is no way to see if that worked, so just cross your fingers and hope that it worked. So we can't go back into presets and see if that took, but yeah, if it doesn't pop up an error, you're good. PID tuning tab. This is where I start. I move the D-gain slider up to 1.3. I move the stick response slider down to 0.5. This is my personal setup that I prefer to start at. I move Dmax, I-gain, pitch damping, pitch tracking, all up to 1.1. And that is my baseline. That is where I start, and then I tune it from there. I-term relax, I always move down to 10. The 15 default setting is good for racing. 10 is good for freestyle. 5 is good for cinematic. Here is anti-gravity. If we have a situation where we can't fix the center of gravity, you can increase the anti-gravity to help with any bobbles that you get when you increase or decrease the throttle very quickly. Dynamic damping, the default settings are fine, but I like round numbers, so I change them both to 30. But the default setting is completely fine. Dynamic idle doesn't work on all AIOs, and so I'm just going to leave it off for right now. I do like turning on VBAT sag compensation at 100%, and I do like thrust linearization, but I don't like it at 20%. I like it at 10%. Excuse me, 10%. Thrust linearization makes the PIDs more active, more aggressive at 0 throttle. At a value of 20, in my opinion, it's a little bit too aggressive. The value of 10 is perfect. A little bit more aggressive than no boost at all, but not a big boost. Save it. Rate profile settings. My rates are 40, 700.7. These are very, very cinematic rates, but they do absolutely also work for freestyle, but it's a softer, more watchable freestyle with this amount of expo. And this will make your flight footage look really good. It'll make you look really good as a pilot. It's not quite as fun as having, like, you know, linear rates, for example, but your flight footage is much, much, much more viewable by people that aren't hardcore FPV pilots. And it's also more viewable by hardcore FPV pilots. It's maybe less viewable by 16-year-olds, I guess. These are the default filters that go in with that preset. Like I said, they're a really good starting point, but they are a little bit soft. With a clean build like this, you can usually switch this use D-term slider to on, and then take this D-term slider from 1.05 up to 1.2. I have really good luck doing this right off the rip. You are removing filtering to increase performance, but if it's a noisy build, that can cause problems. So it's safer to leave these the hell alone and fly it first, but I've been doing this for long enough where I know this is a clean build. I know I built it clean. The AIOs are getting really good. This is a good set of motors, and so I should be okay. But if I arm this and it starts making weird noises or tries to fly away, I'm going to move that D-term filter multiplier back down. Gyro RPM filter, because this is a carbon fiber frame, we're going to leave this alone. I am going to move the minimum frequency up to 150, though. I typically don't see any vibrations on these small builds in the motors or props below 150 hertz. And so this is going to reduce a little bit of latency from the RPM filter. The dynamic notch filter, I'm going to leave the hell alone. One notch, 300Q, minimum 100, maximum 600. That's going to cover the range that the frame resonances typically happen. And that's it. That's all I'm going to change in the filters. Very, very subtle change there. Click save, and we're locked in. Let me go to rate profile, make sure that's saved as well. Yeah, we're good. Receiver tab. Now we get to get this thing bound up. I'm going to unplug it because it's in Wi-Fi mode. I'm going to get my transmitter ready here. Turn this guy on. All right, that's coming up. I'm going to plug back in. I'm going to go on the little screen here and go into bind mode. This is the quickest and easiest way. I do use binding phrases, but this little method, if you've got a module with a screen on it, you can put it into binding mode, and it will usually bind without you having to go into ELRS and type your thing in. So I'm going to click the bind receiver button here, and then I'm going to hit the binding button on here, and let's see if that works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't look like it worked this time. So we're going to have to go into the ELRS web configurator. That's not a big deal. Give us a chance to update it too while we're at it. Did this show that there was a bind button? I think this might have told us that there was a bind button on here. ELRS boot button for firmware flashing. It's right next to the ELRS port. So I'm actually going to do that because it is legitimately easier than going into the ELRS web flasher. And so I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to take something non-metallic, and I'm going to jam it in here to hit the bind button. But I can't see what the hell I'm doing. And so I'm just like poking around with a stick. Okay. I can't see what I'm doing. Hold on. I was hitting the bind button. What the hell? I don't necessarily feel the button like clicking down, which is kind of weird. But I think I can see the button. Is that not it? Jesus, man. I can't see a fucking thing. Is that the ELRS button? Yeah, that's the bind button. Why was it not? Oh, let me guess. You have to actually give it full battery voltage, not just USB. Let's see. Hold on, did that do it? What? Well, that's weird. The bind button doesn't do it. Oh, do I need to hold it? Ah, you need to hold it. I'm a stupid person. Oh, hold on. I think I went into Wi-Fi mode. Alright, hold on. Let's hold the button down. There it is. When I hold the button down, it starts flashing fast. Which kind of makes me think that holding the button down puts it directly into Wi-Fi mode, almost. Fuck this. We're just going to use the ELRS web configurator. This will give us a chance to update it if we need to update it too. That was a waste of time. Usually, it's faster to just do that. Usually, nowadays, typically ELRS is on a version that doesn't give us any problems, but not always. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to disconnect from Betaflight, which you've already done. And we're going to just Google search ELRS web configurator. I do need to figure out what I need to use in ELRS for this. So I'm just going to do a find on this channel. Protocol ELRS. And so it's going to highlight every instance of it saying ELRS. And then I'm just going to look to see what... Alright, so... The web UI, that's what we're looking... That's not it. Installing... Nope, that's not it. Web Flasher. Here we go. Web Flasher. ELRS Web Flasher is what we want. So this is a receiver because it's on the quad side. We click that. Firmware version 4.00. I've not updated to 4.00 yet. I'm just putting everything on 3.6.3, which is totally fine. We're going to come in here to hardware vendor. We're going to look for HDLRC. And there they are. Radio frequency is 2.4. And now let's see what... Is this not H... This is JHEMCU. Sorry. JHEMCU 2.4. Hardware target. It's not a dual, so it must be light. Usually there'll be like a third option that says like AIO, but again, this is not dual, so it kind of must be light. Say anything about here? Receiver on board, firmware flashing into DFU, 9-volt back indicator. No, doesn't talk about it anywhere. Say anything about it here? Camera, external S bus. Nah, nothing. Okay, we're going to try it. It should be fine. There is my binding phrase. Flashing method is going to be Betaflight pass-through. And then we're going to hit next. You don't need anything else there. This is going to pop up. You're going to click Betaflight, connect. And now let's see how it does. Flemo Fly says it's light. I have one. Awesome. There we go. No red text. That's a good thing. And then we're going to hit flash. I could have done full chip erase, but no need. That's only for like if it's hanging up or doing anything weird. Striker says, new Lava 2S, I just flew them for the first time, sagged to 2.9 on a punch indoors. I decided to land, came up to 3.6. I checked the voltage a couple hours later, 4.0. That's rough. And there we go. All set on 3.6.3. So now our binding phrase is in there. We can connect to Betaflight, and I can already see that the transmitter is connected. Sometimes Betaflight needs the flight controller to be power cycled, so I've just unplugged it and plugged it back in. And now we can reconnect. And now in the receivers tab, we have motion on the sticks. My throttle is down and my sticks are centered, but the thing is flipping around like that. It's because the channel map is wrong. Your channel map is going to be either AETR or sometimes TAER. Hit save, and now it fixes it. Stick low threshold and stick high threshold. You're going to take both sticks. You're going to go into the bottom left corner. See what happens to those levels? So we're going to do that, and then we're going to look at those numbers. 998, 989, 993, 989. All of these numbers are just barely below 1,000. So my stick low threshold, I'm going to set that to 1,000. My stick high threshold, I can find by going up and right. So forward and right on the sticks, 2012, 2010, 2005, 2012. They're all above 2,000. So I can take my stick high threshold and move it to 2,000. This is a way of getting a little bit more throttle resolution out, because now the stick high will only trigger at 2,000 and the stick low will travel at 1,000. You can get a noticeable amount of extra resolution on your sticks by doing that. One simple trick. And then the RC deadband and the yaw deadband, set that to 4. All gimbals jitter a little bit. You're looking at jitter right here. It's jittering from 56 to 57 to 58. That's 2 full points of jitter. 1505 down to 1503, 2 points of jitter. 1497 up to 1500, 3 points of jitter. 1503, 1502, 1505, 3 points of jitter. And so by putting a 4-point deadband on there, it's going to completely take care of all that jitter. That's all we're doing here in the receivers tab. Hit save. Modes tab. Everybody kind of has their own setup for modes. This is mine. I use horizon mode as a panic switch. If I lose video, I can flip into horizon mode. It'll level off, and I can add throttle to get it up in the air while I figure out how to get video back. Beeper. We're going to put over here on aux 3. Put beeper in the all the way down switch position. And then put... this is my air mode on a switch. And then put... Oh, wait, no, I want to do this the other way. I want it constant on. And then when I flip the momentary switch, I want to turn it off. Put flip over after crash in the middle switch position. If you're putting turtle mode and beeper on the same 3-position switch, make sure that flip over after crash turtle mode is the middle switch position, and then beeper is all the way in one direction of the other switch position. It's a long explanation. Just do it, and you'll prevent any possible problems. Launch control is kind of fun, but I don't know, it's not that fun. Save it. That's how I do my modes. You have your own setup, I'm sure. Adjustments. I do this funky little thing where I can run a clean OSD when I'm black box logging. It reminds me of when I'm in black box logging mode, and this is how I do that. It basically turns off the OSD that I have set up when I move the switch position into where black box is. I actually forgot to turn on black box. I need to do that. This has an 8 meg black box chip on it, so that's black box mode there. Cool. Save that. Motors tab, D-Shot 300, because we're running the PID loop at 4K. If we were going to run it at 8K, we would run DShot 600, but this processor is not powerful enough for that. Motor poles 14. We're going to count the magnets on one of these motors, and I'm blind, so I'm going to have to use a jeweler's loop for that. So I'm going to spin this motor around until I'm looking at the AMAX logo. It's probably 12 magnets, but let's just count. AMAX logo is there, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and there's the AMAX logo again. Cool. So 12 magnets. Typically, you only get to 14 magnets up at like a 14-sized motor. If you have this set wrong, you'll never know it. It'll tell you the wrong RPM here in the motors tab and in your post-flight stats, but that's it. There are no other issues because it's a global adjustment. So all 4 motors will read too high RPM. The PID loop won't care. It doesn't care what the RPM is. It cares about the difference in RPM. And so you can have this wrong and you'll probably never notice it. I notice it because I do a lot of testing and I use those RPM post-flight stats to figure out what prop motor combo is doing really well. Everything else I'm going to kind of leave alone. Save and reboot. But I am going to get the motors spinning in the right direction. And so we're going to reconnect. Come in here to the motors tab. We're going to go plug in a battery. I have this AIO oriented normally, and so motor 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be in the right spots, but the direction that they're spinning is probably going to be wrong. So the props are off. Wizard, start and spin. Whoa. Something ain't right there. One of the front motors was just like violently jittering back and forth. There might be something pushed up against it. Let's try that again. Or I might need to adjust the startup power. Let's see. Balance there, you bastard. Start and spin. Nope. Interesting. Motor 1's not spinning at all. Let's do this. I want to give him a little bit more stank. Okay, yeah, they will spin. They don't sound great, though. A little bit of a clicking noise there. Strange. They all will spin. They just don't want to spin at idle. And so we're going to take care of that real quick in ESC Configurator. ESC-configurator.com. We are powered up. We're going to select serial port, Betaflight, connect. We're going to click connect here. Coming up, read settings down on the bottom. And now let's see what version it's on. BlueJay 0.18. That is not one of the better versions of BlueJay. You got to make sure your transmitter is turned off. ELRS interferes with this for some weird reason. We don't need our transmitter on anyway. So we're going to flash all ESCs. BlueJay, never change this ZH30. And then we're going to go to 0.21 at 48K. 24K is going to give you a little bit better motor braking, but less efficiency and less power. 48K is the perfect middle ground. 96K is going to give you shitty motor braking and shitty flight performance, but it is going to give you a little bit more power and a little bit more efficiency. 48K is absolutely the way to go, unless you're just dying for more motor braking, in which case you can try 24. But a lot of times you go to 24 and you don't like how much power you lost. B. Kirk says, I saw someone post on Instagram how to change your Betaflight settings via Wi-Fi and ELRS. Is this good for broken USBs? I haven't gotten it to work yet. Yeah, very much so. That's cool. I've heard about that before. Cool. We're good. I'm going to move this startup power up a little bit. In fairness, the new version of Betaflight is less aggressive on the startup power, which is why, since I know this thing is having a problem, I'm moving it up a little bit. And then motor timing, use medium. Rosser did a bunch of testing and found that medium almost always works better. The beep strength and the beacon strength, since this is a tiny little quad, I like to turn these up a little bit. The beacon strength is your ESC beeper, and then I change the delay to 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, if no signals have been sent to it, it'll start beeping and say, yo, I'm getting hot. Fly me or unplug me. Right settings. And now let's see if this is a little bit better. Disconnect. Connect to Betaflight. Motors tab. Motor direction. Understand the risks. Wizard. Start and spin. It's better, but it's still not quite there. Motor number 4 is still twitching, so we're just going to move those up a little bit more. Read settings. I'm going to go up to 1100 and 1240. Right settings. Okay. That was a pretty big jump just now, but we'll be all right. These motors are twitching with no propellers on them. Once there's propellers and the rotating assembly is heavier, their job will become a little bit more difficult, which is why I made such a drastic jump there. Wizard, start and spin. Wow. Motor 4 is still having a hard time. Why is Motor 4 having such a hard time? What's happening with you, Motor 4? I'm going to pull power and see if there's something blocking Motor 4, basically. Like, are the motor wires pushed up against the motor bell? What's happening here? Here's another good test. You put propellers on 2 of the motors and just flick the propeller and see how freely it spins, how long it spins. So, hold up. Let me just grab 2 random 2.5-inch propellers. And so we're having a problem with motor 4. I'm just going to throw this on here real quick. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. What? Why won't... What? Tell me these aren't 2mm motor shafts. Don't be a 2mm motor shaft. Oh, you monkey fucking a coconut. Alright. Apparently, these AMAX motors have a 2mm motor shaft above the bell. There was a short period of time where we thought that was a good idea. It was not a good idea. It allows you to run no T-mount screws, which makes the rotating assembly lighter weight, but you have to drill your propellers out. And you have to, like, properly drill them out with a little kit that FPV Cycle came out with that they no longer sell. I did not realize that about these motors. That is annoying because that means I have to essentially ruin some... Oh. So that means that I can't do multiple propeller testing on these motors because I'm not going to ruin a full set of all these propellers by drilling them out. Oh no. Come on now. I'm going to ruin one set of decent propellers to test this. God damn it. The GemFan 2520s were pretty good, and I have a bunch of these. So I'm going to ruin a set of GemFan 2520s to test out on this rig. And then I'm going to swap these motors out, to be completely honest, because this is stupid. So I'm going to take a kind of beat-up set of these GemFan 2520s and I'm going to drill them. High left, high right, and high right. Is that one fresh? No, there should be one more somewhat used propeller in here. Is that the one? That's not it. High right. Come on now. Fuck it, it's fine. The way this little kit works is kind of annoying. We got this little piece. This is what holds the propeller by using these little guys as T-mount. And so you unscrew this. Man, I haven't used this kit in a long time. Okay. So we got that. And so the propeller slots on to this. Jesus. I think that's how it works, isn't it? How does this kit work? Told you it's been a long time since I used this. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Okay. Can I search for 2mm? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that is how it works. Oh, you leave that thing out, though. Oh, that thing center... Yeah, I remember now. I remember. This is just a centering tool. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so I was good. I was doing it the right way. So, and you don't even really need that as a centering tool because the T-mount screws center the prop totally fine. Oh, it looks like this is in stock. Oh, very cool. It was out of stock for the longest time. All right, so this is going to take the entire rest of the fucking live stream. Oh my god, it's 5... Oh my god, I gotta stop. I think we covered all the things. And so, hold on, let me just do one of these, just to prove to you that this thing works. Not that you need any proof. Come on. Okay, there we go. So you screw this little thing in, you got screws peeking through, and then this thing has the 3 holes. You screw these down, and now the prop is centered. That little centering tool would have made this little process here a bit quicker. And actually, let me just make sure. I'm going to use this centering tool. I am going to make sure that this propeller, before I screw it down, is perfectly centered. So I put that little piece in here. I find that putting the T-mount screws in does a good enough job at centering these propellers, but just to be sure. Okay, so then you pull this out. Okay, so now you just have your prop, and it is perfectly centered on there. And then you take this drill bit that they give you, and there's a bearing down there, and it runs right through. And you don't put this thing on, you just run the drill bit. And I think I remember not needing a drill to do this. Yeah, I can feel it biting. Come on. Get through there. And so that little silver round cap has a little indentation in it. And everything is lined up. And you're good to go. You drill it through. I guess we could use this... No, because the bearing is sized for 2mm. And here's all the plastic that just came out. So I think we removed enough. Let's find out. Okay. Oh boy, come on now. Get out of there. Okay. And so that is now drilled out for 2 millimeters. Yep, there we go. And it's drilled out centered. This is the only way to do this. You have to have a kit that centers it. You cannot step up from like a 1.5 millimeter drill bit to a 1.55, 1.6, 1.65. It does not stay centered. And so now the prop will go onto this motor, and so yeah, something's rubbing on this motor. Something ain't right. This should spin more than that. As an example, so that motor 4 is the one that won't spin right now. If I put this on motor 1, which was spinning, and I flick that, see how much longer that's spinning for? So something's going on up here. Something's rubbing on this motor, or the C-clip is rubbing, or there's a motor screw that's pushing up into the windings. I'm pretty sure there isn't, but yeah, I need to figure that out before I go any farther. But I think we covered pretty much everything in Betaflight. I hit you guys with a whole bunch of tips. Hopefully you learned something. This guy is almost ready. It's bound. I guess just like OSD. For your OSD, you should have a chunk of text. Oh, I'm going to put crash recovery on this as well. So here's my chunk of text for crash recovery. And then for your OSD, you should just have a chunk of CLI data that you can just drop in. Next time you set up your OSD exactly the way you want it, go into the CLI and type diff all, and there's a bunch of CLI stuff with OSD. And so copy and paste all of that CLI shit that says OSD, and then that'll have your whole OSD set up. And then you can just drop it in like you just saw me do, connect, go to the OSD tab, and it's all set up the way that you want it to. Or not. What on earth? Well, okay, so doing that, it doesn't turn stuff off. So I still have to turn off these weird artificial horizon things. I got to turn off this compass bar. I have never seen this aggressive of an OSD setup from factory. What is this up here? Wait, this is also not set to HD. Let's set the... there we go. That's looking better. Although this is looking a little weird. Let's save it now that I changed it to HD. Let's disconnect, and we're going to reconnect and see if that clears it up. Sometimes you have to do it twice. Now, see how this is all jank here? Let's go back to the CLI, and let's paste the OSD back in. And we're going to hit save again. And a lot of times that'll fix it. Yep, see that? Isn't that weird? It's when the video format is set to auto that it can get a little janky. And so now we're good. This is my actual OSD setup. So I got to finish up in the motors tab, figure out what's rubbing on that motor. Video transmitter doesn't matter because it's digital. Sensors, nothing. Tethered logs, nothing. Black box debug mode. You do want to set this if you have a black box chip to gyro scaled. And then for the logging rate, 1/2 kilohertz will get you up to 800, which is what you want. And then save and reboot. And that's it, friends. That is a full Betaflight setup. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to fix the rest of it and then fly this thing. Fly this thing tomorrow morning so that I have some flight footage tomorrow night. Cool? Yeah, there's all kinds of other cool OSD stuff that I did not turn on. I try to keep the OSD sort of clean, but with enough info to where I can monitor the stuff that's like super important. But there's all kinds of other stuff that's really, really slick. Thanks for hanging, friends. I know I missed some chat comments, but I gotta go, man. I'll see you guys again tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Here's some more flying around the 2-inch version of one of these little open prop bastards in Portland, Oregon on a trip that changed my life. I'm just going to continue flying. Previously, I played this flight footage raw, and it was bobbling all over the place. Recently, I've passed it through GyroFlow using the gyro data, and it was a bit of a nightmare. Like, for example, this flight that I'm about to show you, this is what happens when you use the gyro data for it. It's kind of all over the place. That's mainly jello there, though. There's kind of no getting rid of that. I did not have a way of putting an ND filter on this rig, and this was middle of the day, so there's not a whole lot. But there are, like, severe twitches sometimes when you're using the gyro data. But this file doesn't look like it has any of those severe twitches. Let me try to find one. There you go. So there's some of the big twitches that the gyro data will give you. There you go. There's a perfect example. I've then run these back through GyroFlow using optical flow, which doesn't use the gyro data, and it looks a lot better. And so that's what this file is that I'm about to play. This is Cannon Beach. A lot of jello, but an ND filter will fix that. And I'm on my way to trying to figure that out. I love you guys. See you tomorrow night. Bye bye.
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy Spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams, yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place, yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, Danny Big Duo Kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. They zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah. Shotty's on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle Mike. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive, Teddy. Push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep. Yeah, CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, diamond and duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy Spaghetti. Barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, things zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Ciotty and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV's fur-faced legends sing it loud. Yeah, Teddy Spaghetti and CiottiFPV always proud.